Out of every movie that I've planned to see in theaters this month, this was the one I had the highest hopes for. But it let me down. Good Boy tells the story of a haunted house through the dog's perspective, and that's really what got me intrigued in this movie. And that is really, I think, what it does well, but there was quite some things about it that also dimmed it down for me. Now, when I normally do these reviews, I talk about pros, mixed, and negatives, but because I struggled to really do that with this movie, I find it easier to just talk about how I feel about it from start to finish. Now, this will include no spoilers for it, except at the end of the spoiler section, but that's only answering one question, which is, does the dog get killed? And I feel like that's a very sensitive subject, so I'll answer that in the spoilers section, because I feel like for this type of movie, a little bit is of a spoiler. And when this movie first started, I want to say I came into this movie tired and sleepy. I just woke up. And I've done this for multiple movies. Like, you'll see my out of theater reactions really early in the morning or really early in the afternoon because I go to theater so early. And I've never really struggled with connecting through a movie when I was tired, because I was awake at this point like I was in other movies, and it never affected me. But it did affect my view on this one, because let me tell you, if you're sleepy or tired, oh, this is not a movie to go to when you're sleepy or tired. This is a full awake movie, as I learned the very hard way. Now, when this movie started, it caught me off guard. I didn't expect that opening, but I think they did a good job at really nailing the relationship between the owner and the dog, and I really did appreciate that. And I liked the little montage we got, that was cute, and the way they had the connection, I really liked that they set that up very, very well. But then there's two teenage girls next to me, and they start being a little annoying. Now, it's not as annoying yet as we get later in the movie, but we get a little annoying. So I'm like, okay, whatever, all right, this is fine. We then get towards the middle of the movie, right? So this is where things kind of start to pick up a little, like they go to the house. This is where the girls next to me then proceed to kind of try to point things out. Like, there's a jump scare. Now, this is starting to personally annoy me, because maybe I've seen too many movies in theaters, but they were like, there's gonna be a jump scare, and I know there's not gonna be a jump scare, and I'm right, and I'm like, there's gonna be a jump scare. I'm like, yeah, there's gonna be a jump scare at this scene, but they were pointing out every shadow. There it is. But by this point, I'm kind of getting used to this movie a little bit. The way they had the speaker on the phone throughout the movie to kind of explain that perspective was something I haven't seen, but the way they show the dog and the different perspectives, and the dog really is the focus, I liked. And it took me a little bit of getting used to the phone thing, and I'm like, I didn't really like it at first. And I also didn't really like how they didn't show the full humans. You don't really see the full humans at first. And I don't really like these details at first. We then get later on, we're a little almost past the middle, ramping up the girls, pointing out the jump scares. And I start watching this, and this is where things really start to queue up around the house, okay? And I'm like, this is where they lose me a little bit. All right, I'm sleepy, I'm tired. This movie starts to feel slow for me. It's really getting to me. I'm starting laying my head down, keeping my eyes open still. I watched this entire movie, didn't miss it. And things are happening. I enjoyed the scenes of the perspective, but they're losing me. I felt a little bit bored. But then we get to the end, like towards the end, and this is where my interest goes up. Now I'm waking up. I'm starting to wake up now. And this is really when they pull my heartstrings, okay? There's a moment involving a doghouse. I really felt bad for the dog, because the dog is a great cast here. And the way they just handle that scene, I'm like, oh, this starts kicking off my interest. The way they deal with the connections between this. Now, at this point in the movie, I don't mind the human thing as well with faces. It will still, that annoys me a little bit, but that's more or less photography art bothering me there. But the talking on the phone doesn't bother me as much anymore. Then we get towards the end, and that whole interest, that I love the end of this movie. The end of the movie, I have no problems against. I love the way they portrayed that. I love the way you saw the dog's perspective. I love the dog's loyalty. I love how it showed the entire movie. And the way that whole scene was shot. And that whole speech towards the end was so, so sweet. Oh, that pulled at my heartstrings. Then we get to the ending. And again, it doesn't match as well as the previous before. Now, I liked the ending, but it didn't land it completely for me here. I know what they were going for, but they didn't finish it completely. Now, let's talk about my overall thoughts after this. As I stated before, I was tired. So the sleepiness was getting to me really throughout the movie. And when it starts to ramp up, The first half I liked, where they talk about the connection, how they got there, okay? The middle part is where they really lost me, where I was sleepy most. It felt like the most exaggerated for me, and I really did feel like it was like, when is this movie gonna end? The end part I liked a lot, okay? Middle, I could take the start and the end, but the middle, I think that. Maybe that is the victim of the girls next to me and the tiredness, but I personally got bored during that. But let's talk about a little bit of spoilers. And the first spoiler question, I think, that's gonna really answer some questions here is, does the dog survive or die? The dog does not die. The dog survives. There's no real big harm to the dog. Dog gets attacked, but there's no like stabbing, harm, death to the dog. Dogs, you care about the dog. There's some moments that are tense, but the dog's fine. All right, I do want to answer that because I feel like some people are very sensitive to that. I don't like animals being killed on screen or anything like that either, so I'm in that camp. But overall, I could see why people like this movie, but it was not my cup of tea, but I see the popularity. I like the idea and where they were leading with it, but maybe I'll give it a second shot in the future. But comment down below if you've seen Good Boy. If you're gonna go see it, let's get some opinions on here, because I feel like this movie is gonna have a lot of different opinions, especially with the animal lovers community and tolerance. Comment down below, and I'll be back with new content soon.